Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Game Patrol. I'm your host, Landon Plumley, and joining me again is my bestest friend, Lucas Bakle.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm 17 episodes into this, and I always have a really, really crappy introduction. Like, I start off super great. Fine. Like how I just did. And then I'm just like, yeah.
Then you have nothing.
Yeah. That's how it's happened, like, every single time. Either that, or I think there's, like, 5 episodes in a row that I started it off with, like, 2020's been a crazy year. Like, like, I started that so many times. Like, that's not the first thing I say, but, like, that's my segue is, like, man, 2020's been crazy. And then I'm like, wait, I've said that so many times already.
Best podcaster right here.
Yeah. To be fair, it has been pretty crazy.
It has, yeah.
But yeah, it's been fine. So how have you been, buddy? You've been doing well?
I've been pretty good. Just lots of work recently.
That sucks.
Yeah. How about you?
Not a lot of work because COVID sucks. But I've been doing a lot of stuff. Been doing a lot of fun things, I guess. Sometimes being a little depressed, being a little happy, all over the place. We be vibing. But we got a crap ton of gaming news this week, and so we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And I wish I was more energetic for this, but I, again, have been up since 3 a.m. I don't know why this happens on podcast days, because I've been sleeping so well every other day of the week. I guess I'm just so pumped to record this that I'm just like, I can't sleep. I need it to be. To be fair, honestly, that kind of was what happened last night. Like, I was really excited because of all the news that's come out this past week, and so I was like, man, like, I was thinking about, how I wanted to structure it, what all I wanted to talk about, because, I try to condense it a little bit. I don't want it to be a 5-hour podcast, and I feel we'll get there one day. But, I try to be a little nitpicky, and so I was thinking about it, and then I was like, I can't sleep. So, we've been up. But, yeah.
Now you're here to the podcast.
Now we're here, and we're having a good old time. And so, yeah. Getting into the games this week. Very, very, very slow week compared to the last few. Not a whole lot of games coming out. On Tuesday, so that's one indication. Usually we have games coming out on Friday. We have, like, nothing. But Tuesday, we have eFootball PES 2021 season update for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. They've done a little bit of a rebranding. So it says celebrate 25 years of PES with the eFootball PES 2021 season update, available at a special anniversary price. That's all it said for it, and that tells you how much of a deal it is, which is not that much. It is discounted. And so I think it's taking sort of like the FIFA on Switch approach, which is not a super good approach, but I'm not necessarily saying this is going to be a bad game. It's mostly that there's probably not going to be a whole lot of new stuff. It's just, it's like it says in the name, it's a season update. It's going to have updated rosters, but overall, I'm sure the gameplay will be very similar. Probably like some minor tweaks, maybe a little graphical touches, like upgrades here or there. But I wouldn't expect something super grandeur with it, and that's why it's discounted. I believe it's $40, but it's not a full $60 game. And
also
so,
not FIFA.
I mean, to be fair, these games do really, really well critically.
Oh, I know. I was just giving it a hard time.
Yeah. It doesn't sell as well as FIFA,
yeah.
But honestly, critically,
no, they're pretty good. For the critics, you have them good. Like, honestly, I feel like most of the true soccer fans play PES.
Honestly, I haven't played a lot of PES in the past, but I've played some, and I honestly find it more enjoyable than FIFA. Like, I'm not a huge FIFA person anyway, so my opinion doesn't really matter that much on this anyway. But, like, as someone who didn't really get super into, like, either at one point or another, like, trying out both, I was more drawn to PES. And so, but then I played FIFA 20 this last year, and I enjoyed it. So I'm not to say that FIFA's bad in any way, and I'm interested to see this new FIFA, and I'll have it with EA Play Plus, whatever that's called. I think they just rebranded, so I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's EA Play Pro. That's what it's called.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I'll have it. I might check it out. I've been meaning to check out Madden, but I just don't have the willpower to because most people don't like it. But yeah, anyway. Also on Tuesday, Spelunky 2 for PS4, and this is a relatively big thing. It is coming out on PC, but in a few weeks, so it is having some limited exclusivity on the PS4, which is interesting because Spelunky started out as a PC exclusive, and so now we're getting the second one on PS4 first. So don your headlamp, grab your whip, and descend back into the perilous caves in the sequel to Derek Yu's award-winning roguelite 2D platformer. So Spelunky is a very, very highly rated game. I mean, everybody loved it when it came out, so we're finally getting the sequel. I think it's going to be hard to live up to that expectation, but I'm very interested to see how it turns out, you know?
Yeah, I don't really know too much about the game. I've seen my brother Nolan play it for a few hours, and it looked pretty it actually looked pretty fun as a concept to me. It's just like I don't have enough time to get into a game like that.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a really cool thing at the time because of the popularity of, you know, the DS and the PSP, like the Vita. It was very successful on the Vita. But like portable consoles, like that's why I'm shocked that Spelunky 2 is not on the Switch. I'm sure it's because of Sony pulling their exclusivity deals, but I'm sure it will come to Switch eventually. We'll get a Switch release probably next year, but I think it's the perfect game for Switch. Really fun, honestly. Metroidvania-esque type game. But yeah, and that's it. Those are all the games that are coming out this week. I mean, of course, you know, if you really want to dig, you can find some more games, but those are the notable ones coming in this next week. And so, getting into the gaming news, this is where we had a lot of big stuff. So I'm going to I'm going to start off with something that just got announced today for us, yesterday for you guys. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War had their big multiplayer reveal event today. So we got a ton of new details for maps, gameplay, next gen, all sorts of stuff. I believe it was last week. I think we covered this, that we talked about it hitting 120 FPS on next gen, which is really cool. They talked a little bit more, mostly about PS5 stuff, saying that, you know, it was going to have the haptic feedback and the 3D audio and all the stuff that PS5's touting, and all pretty much gimmicky stuff. But they talked a lot about that. And yeah, we saw some multiplayer gameplay. And I was trying to look at Twitter and see how the reactions were live. Like I popped in for a little bit on stream. People were not happy in the stream chat. But overall on Twitter, I didn't really see any extreme reactions one way or the other. People were very much like, okay. Like, not hating it, but not being like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Just very, like, I don't even want to say mediocre, because they weren't like, man. They were just like, this is all right, cool. You know, so it was interesting to see that. Have you had a chance to look at the gameplay yet?
I have not, but this actually is a game that I'm planning on buying, because just the Black Ops, all of the Black Ops games have been my favorite Call of Duties, and I haven't really played a Call of Duty since Black Ops 3.
Well, also, Cold War is a direct sequel to Black Ops 1, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah, the campaign's a direct
that's
sequel.
The only campaign I played, so that's beautiful.
Yeah, good old Alex Mason's gonna be
the
returning.
Numbers Mason. What do they mean?
Yeah, he's gonna be a returning character, not playable, but he will be in the campaign.
That's fine.
But you get because you get to create your character in this campaign.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's interesting. The TTK is insanely low. Like they've said it's lower than Black Ops 4. But like I thought it was low in Modern Warfare. This looks extremely low. Like I was watching, because basically they revealed the multiplayer and then they just basically showed a bunch of streamers playing it. And these people, granted, they're professional, like esports level players. They were killing people like that. Like they aim, shoot, boom, dead. And it was like Valorant level TTK. And so it was like, it's going to be interesting. And I like that, because it seems like Call of Duty's taking a much more strategic approach. I thought that that's what they were doing with Modern Warfare. And it looks like they're leaning even more into that with Cold War. But it's interesting, because it's a mix-up. And that's part of where I've seen some dislike for it, is because it's not, you know, classic Call of Duty. And it's one of those things where you can't satisfy everybody, because when they were very bombastic and, you know, you had jetpacks everywhere and the TTK was not small at all, people were like, you know, this is too crazy. We want boots on the ground. And so then they got more realistic, and now people are saying, you know, this isn't classic Call of Duty. And it's like, well, technically it is, but like, you know, it's different than from what they've had for the past few years. And so, you know, there's going to be people complaining, but I'm interested to say the least.
Yeah, I'm curious to what they'll do.
Yeah. They also showed a very small snippet of a tease for zombies, and it looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see the full reveal.
Dude, Black Ops Zombies is the best zombies.
Well, the thing is, your field of view is like this. Like,
what?
It is. They're going all in on the horror aspect, it looks like. And so it's like,
oh man,
yeah, it's super dark, super cramped, super like, yeah, it looks like they're really going for horror this time, and I am here for it. I'm very excited to see what zombies
we're gonna be
bringing.
Playing some zombies for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what that's like, and it's gonna be super fun. I didn't like, as much as it's like, I think the past couple zombies modes in like the past couple Call of Duties were very like samey. So like I wasn't like disappointed that it wasn't in Modern Warfare, but like I'm excited to see it coming back because I did miss that fun co-op experience, because it just wasn't really the same on Modern Warfare, especially with their BS with the whole survival being exclusive to PlayStation for a year. Like Xbox players still can't play survival on Modern Warfare.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's garbage.
It's garbage. I hope we don't get anything like that with this. We haven't heard anything yet, but
what is it with PlayStation? They gotta chill.
They can do it, and so they are. They're playing dirty because they know Xbox won't right now, and it's smart. It just sucks for anybody who's not a PlayStation user.
Yeah.
PlayStation users are just rolling in their content right now, and so you know, because I was having a debate with my boss actually, because he owns a PlayStation and a PC.
Oh, we get into this now.
I'm not gonna get super heavy into it, but I was talking with my boss, and he was saying like I was just talking about how I'm very like I don't like Sony's anti-consumerist policies, and I'm very worried about what it means for next gen when they basically are creating this monopoly almost, depending on how Xbox proceeds. And he said, well, honestly, like the people in the Sony community, you know, they're treated really well. Like Sony hasn't really done a lot to screw over the PlayStation community. Like once you're in, you're safe. It's the people outside of the community that are being affected. And
it's
honestly,
like
yeah, well, I would even go so far as to say Apple, because Apple doesn't do good things for their consumers all the time.
Yeah.
Like Sony, I really can't think of anything they've done to really harm their consumers besides crossplay. That's about the only thing I can say that they've been like against that has been pro-consumer. Like pro-consumer in a way that hurts their consumers versus others. And so, and then they eventually, you know, caved. And so it's like, honestly, Sony hasn't really done a lot. You know, they haven't really screwed over PlayStation users. I think
my Xbox users.
Yeah, they screwed over everybody else. But like, I can't really fault them for that. I mean, that's capitalism. I mean, that's how the world works.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But you know, like he made a good point. And honestly, I guess I just come from someone like PlayStation was the last console I got into. It's the ecosystem that I have been in for the least amount of time. So I think it's why I have this certain just ickiness towards. I'm trying to come up with a good word. Me, the English major, can't come up with one. But like I can't like I don't know. Maybe that's just why I have this bias towards it. But like the more I think about it, the more it's like honestly, like I haven't really been burned by PlayStation in the PlayStation ecosystem. It's been because of my involvement outside. So like I use an Xbox primarily, and because the Xbox One X is the most powerful console right now, and because of that I can get screwed over. And so that makes me think, honestly, because I thought about it, about going all in on PS5 and that being my main console. I honestly think I will be much happier in the end if I do that, because I will have a lot more exclusive content. Yes, the Series X will be slightly more powerful, but as I've had discussions with people on Twitter today, every single cross-platform game that has had resolutions and or frame rates announced are the exact same on both consoles. Call of Duty will run at 4K 120 FPS on both Series X and PS5. They haven't really talked too much about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm trying to think of some other games, but like any game that's been announced, they're saying on both consoles, on both next-gen consoles. They aren't saying, oh, this is going to run better on Series X. Like, this is going to run at 4K 60 on Series X and 4K 30 on PS5. We haven't had a single game do that yet. Now, in the future, I believe there are going to be games that do that. And even... I mean, I won't be super surprised if third party does it, but I'm more thinking on the first person side. I think the exclusives are going to be the ones that like are going to look really, really good on Xbox. But also, I mean, just looking at the PS4 Pro, the things that Sony has been able to accomplish, like
with just like software, is insane.
God of War and Spider-Man are two of the best looking games I've ever seen in my life. And the
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man
has like ray tracing in it, damn near. Like,
oh, that's something I should have put in here. Crysis Remastered is going to have ray tracing on PS4 Pro and Xbox One X.
What? On PS4 Pro?
I have no idea how they're doing it, but they announced it.
How?
They're putting in software.
They can do some magic.
Software.
They can do some magic with software. Sony is crazy with that.
Well, it's not Sony. Again, it's on Xbox. That's on Xbox One X too. It's Crytek.
Really?
It's Crytek. Crytek has always been. Well, do you know the meme? Can it run Crysis? Like, do you know that meme?
Yeah, I know that meme. Yeah.
I mean, if anybody can do it, it's those devs.
Yeah.
So these are the devs that are doing that, and so apparently it's going to have ray tracing on these current gen consoles, which blows my mind.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I might have to pick it up now. It comes out next Friday, so I might have to pick it up. We'll see, but
I might have to also. Yeah.
Yeah, but. Because also ray tracing looks amazing. I've been playing Control on PC with ray tracing, and it's just so good. It's so good. I'm so excited for the PS5. But yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like if I go into the PS5 ecosystem, I will suffer way less. Like, yeah, there will be some games that look slightly better on the Series X, especially as time goes along. But you know, I can always switch. You know, like I said, I will end up having both anyway. And so for now, my main console will probably be the PS5 because I think it will be the advantage holder for the majority of the console generation because Xbox doesn't really know what they're doing right now.
Yeah, PlayStation has a very clear vision.
Yeah.
Like I can when I bought my PlayStation 4 Pro, because I broke my Xbox. When I bought that. I never understood PlayStation until I got that, and now I kind of understand PlayStation a little bit. Like I can see their vision a little bit.
Yeah. Another one of my many arguments on Twitter today was talking about, you know, PlayStation's exclusives are all the same. They're all third-person adventure games.
So.
Well, one, I want to say no, because they said they were copy and paste. So I asked them. I asked them, please tell me how Ghost of Tsushima is like Ratchet and Clank, or The Last of Us, or God of War. God of War. There we go. That was the one I said. Or any of those. Like, tell me how that's copy and paste. Please tell me. Like, people see third-person perspective and just immediately jump to, and that's what I hate about Xbox fanboys. On the other hand, because I don't want PlayStation fanboys listening to this saying like, yeah, Xbox sucks, because guess what? PlayStation fanboys are just as bad. It is terrible. Saying like there's absolutely no reason to get an Xbox. Okay, right now you're kind of right. Like I will admit, but like you know,
just a little bit.
To say the Xbox One is trash is a fat lie. The One X is my favorite console. Like I love that thing to death, and it's still the main console that I use. I don't like ever since I got this upgraded PC. I honestly don't use console a whole lot, but the One X is my favorite console. And, you know, the thing about Xbox is that they've been making very pro-consumer moves this entire generation. And it looks like that's what they're going into with the Series X and the Series S, which we're also going to talk about here soon. But the problem is that it's very bad for their business because, I mean, again, it gives us no reason to buy the new console because all the games are coming to PC and Xbox One, except for a few select third-party titles that are still coming to PC. So again, I have no reason to buy a Series X right now, unless I want to play it at slightly better. So like my PC runs at 1080p, 144 hertz, and so the Series X would grant me 4K at up to 120 hertz. But then if I wanted to do that, I would also have to buy a 120 hertz TV, and so I don't have that either. So the best I can do right now is 4K 60. So it's like, it's very complicated, and in a year where we're all struggling for money because of COVID, it's not something I can invest in right now. Like, it's not something I'm prioritizing, you know? If I come across a lot of money, sure, why not? But I don't think it's going to happen.
Screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a very, yeah. So Call of Duty, right? We were talking about Call of Duty.
Yeah, where were we? I didn't even know where we were at with Call of Duty.
Yeah, there's part of my rant. We'll keep going, but for sake of continuing,
we're gonna get pretty into it here.
For sake of continuing on in the news, you know.
That wasn't even in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't matter. Who needs structure anyway? So next up, Nintendo. They announced well, they didn't announce something today. Something got rumored. Apparently, Nintendo has been asking developers to make 4K ready games, suggesting we're getting a Switch with those capabilities or some sort of hardware that can use 4K.
4K.
So, yeah, this is very interesting. This is also coming after, like, very shortly after we heard rumors of a new Nintendo Switch model with a better display due for release in the spring. And so,
yeah.
I mean, the fact that we're just now hearing things about, like, Nintendo, I mean, granted, they could have been saying this for a while, but, like, if Nintendo just started telling developers, hey, make stuff in 4K, I would not expect this to come out in the spring. Like, I would expect this to come out in the fall at the earliest, you know? Yeah, because games need to be developed. Like, they take time to develop.
Well, now, unless Nintendo has already been developing games.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's still possible. I just don't think it's as probable with this in mind, that it's coming out in the spring. But, and then another thing, too, is with COVID, I mean, these are obviously plans that are made a while in advance, but it's like, with the new consoles coming out this fall and all of that, people are really not going to have money. And so Nintendo asking people to shell out another $300, potentially $400, probably $400 for this console is going to be a pretty big ask because COVID is not showing any signs of going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
And so, like, spring 2021 is still pretty iffy. Like, it's going to take a while for us to recover from this. I just don't know if it's good timing. I mean, with with the next gen consoles, they already got announced. They were coming out holiday 2020. If they got delayed, which honestly I would not be mad about at all, but if they were, you know, they're avoiding that at all costs. Sony and Microsoft want to get these consoles out this fall.
Yeah.
Whereas Nintendo, they aren't rushed. I mean, yes, people want an updated Switch, but they don't need to release one right now. They haven't made any commitments. They haven't said it's coming. And so I just don't want to buy a new one in the spring. As much as I want a new Switch, I don't want to spend that money.
My thing is if it comes out, I'm going to buy it. My thing is I just don't want to have to allocate those funds.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. But you know, yeah, we keep getting more and more reports, and like honestly, we've gotten 4K. A few reports that are accurate. Man. We had some Mario rumors come true this week, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit too. And so, like, honestly, yeah, like, I think it's going to be a thing, especially with, you know, this current generation. We got the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. You know, console generation lines are getting blurred, especially with the Switch releasing mid-cycle. And it'll be, in the spring, 4 years since the Switch came out, which is honestly... It's kind of shocking. Like, I can't believe it's been that long since the Switch came out.
I can't believe the Switch still holds up. Well, I don't know why it still holds up. It's because it still held up when it came out already outdated.
Yeah. And so, like, I can see it, you know? I just think it's very terrible timing, and that's not all
Yeah.
Nintendo's fault. But like, I would prefer it not to release this spring. Again, I would prefer the consoles don't come out, like the other consoles don't come out this fall.
Yeah,
I don't want to spend money on them.
I don't want to spend any money. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to spend shit.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want the PS5 and I want to experience, new games and new power and this and that, I just don't have the money for it. Like, and the problem is, like you said with the Switch, I'm gonna buy them. It's just I don't want to allocate the funds because I'm going to lose out on some food if I do so.
Yeah, I might starve for a week. That's
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm meaning to practice fasting anyways.
I'm gonna make some dumb financial decisions trying to secure these consoles. And so, yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, we could potentially be getting a 4K Switch soon. I don't know. Who knows?
That would be insane. Just a 4K Nintendo anything, because honestly, I wouldn't expect Nintendo to go 4K yet. I would maybe expect 1440, but not 4K.
Yeah, that was my thing. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before before the podcast, but I talked about the fact that someone mentioned that a Switch Pro could potentially be 1440p, which I at first was like, I just don't think that's much of an upgrade. But then with the Series S being confirmed to run at 1440p, that is now the bottleneck for next gen. And so meaning that's all the Switch needs to hit to be able to run this next generation of games, because the whole reason that the Switch Pro is even like something that is potentially happening right now is because they can't port a lot of third-party games over because it's simply just not powerful enough. And so, thinking about 4K, that's just going to be the standard. That's something that they need to try and hit. But now we know 1440 is also an option. That's what they need to hit. And so that's honestly what I thought, like, once the Series S specs came out, that's what I thought, a Switch Pro could be. But then now we're hearing about these 4K ready games. So, we might be getting a 4K Switch. I just want to be able to run The Witcher 3 at 1080p on Switch. That's really what I want. If they can do that, I don't want to run it at what, like 240p or whatever on docked or like on portable, whatever the
like 30
heck.
FPS.
Yeah, whatever that ungodly FPS is. The resolution.
Resolution is terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
I just want to be able to reliably run The Witcher 3. That's all I ask. Nintendo, just do that for me, please. Because it's a miracle that it's even running on the Switch. But let's, if we can make it better, let's do it. So, yeah.
It's a miracle to get anything running on the Switch, honestly.
Yeah, it's nice. And I've bought a lot of games on Switch. I really didn't need to. Just for the fact that, I have that portable option.
It's on Switch, yeah. That's why. That's why I buy a lot of my games on the Switch. Is because it's on the Switch.
Yeah.
I probably haven't played half my library.
I did a few weeks ago. I did an episode about my backlog just on PC. It was very long. There's a lot of games I haven't played, and a lot of them I haven't touched at all.
See, you're like, I feel like where I am with TV shows and movies, that's where you're like, my games is like your movies and TV shows. Because you've seen a lot of like movies and TV shows, but like I like go and watch movies and TV shows like everywhere and all the time. But you've played like every game. I haven't played like half the games that you played.
Yeah, played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I think I've been trying to keep track across all the systems. I think I'm at around 800 games right now. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I don't even own 100 games on Steam.
I own 300 on Steam.
Holy cow! You own more than my uncle.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
That's insane, dude.
Yep. I have a problem.
That's probably more than the lifetime of video games you got there.
Yep. But, they're pretty cool.
They're pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool, if I do say so myself. All right, moving forward, we got a ton of information about the new Xboxes because it got leaked, which I am questioning because it was very, I don't know, the whole situation, like, it probably was a leak. It probably wasn't intentional. But also, it was very convenient for Xbox. It was very convenient. And I think it was just a way for them. I think it was kind of honestly like the toxic masculinity thing, where it's like you're playing a game of chicken and you don't want it to be like you lost. You want it to be like it was out of your control. Like, oh, my mom's calling me. I got to go home. Oh, no, our price got leaked. You know, I didn't lose. It was the leak. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could definitely be a thing that happened. Yeah, we've got a ton of information. The Series X got officially announced. It does look like a stereo speaker. It is priced at $300. It is 60% smaller than the Series X. It is the smallest Xbox ever, smaller than the One X, smaller than, obviously, the chonky boy that was the original Xbox. And, you know, like, it is...
throw out my front door.
It is big. It is a small boy, and it has pretty much the identical CPU as the Series X, just with a downgraded GPU. So it is hitting at 1440p with up to 120 FPS with HDR, ray tracing, all
That's
the
a powerhouse.
perks. Yeah, it is
a little powerhouse.
It is a tiny little box of greatness for $300, which is absolutely nuts.
That's kind of insane. Maybe I'll just buy that instead of the X. Do I really need 4K? Yeah, I need 4K.
It also comes with a 512 gigabyte SSD, and so that is, you know, a little bit less storage as well. It's also all digital, so there is no physical disk drive in the Series S. There is no version of it with a disk drive. It is digital only, and so that's another thing.
Anyways.
Yeah, so. Whereas the X only has the physical, it doesn't have a digital version. So
yes.
And so, on the other hand, the Series X price was revealed at $500. And, you know, like we already knew the specs, you know, it's got the 4K up to 120 FPS, you know, HDR, it's got a beefier GPU, a slightly faster CPU, but I'm talking very, very slight. They are practically identical. And yeah, for another $200, you can get basically the same performance, but at a higher resolution. And so, yeah, and they are both coming November 10th, which is very, very interesting because Yakuza Like a Dragon was supposed to be a launch game, but it doesn't come out until the 13th. So is it coming out on Series X first, or did it get delayed and now it's not going to be a launch game? I feel like it's the latter, but I'm interested to hear Sega say something because they haven't yet.
Yeah.
Another thing is I was looking for Xbox games that were coming at launch because people were talking about the Medium. One of the games that was confirmed to be a launch game at the Xbox Showcase was Scorn. But now I'm hearing that there isn't a release date. And so I'm interested to hear comment about the developers if they're hitting this November 10th date like they originally supposedly planned, or if it got delayed. Because, you know, with COVID, it would not be surprising. But it's like, do we have one less game to be able to play? They also did announce that Gears Tactics would be coming to both Xbox One and Series X on the 10th as well. So we are getting a first-party launch game. It's just a game that's been out on PC since April. And so, you know, take it as you will. Again, some Xbox fanboys have been like, you know, we've got games. Yeah, okay. Take that as a win, I guess. I don't know. I could play it right now if I wanted to. But, you know, like, if you really, really want to stick it to those PlayStation boys, I guess, you know, you got it. But, yeah, so we have a date. We have a price. Pre-orders are set to open up September 22nd. So if you really, really want to get your Xbox, save that date. Yeah, they're opening September 22nd, and they are also going to be included in the Xbox All Access program, which is a program that launched, I believe it was last holiday. Basically, it's a financing program, but it also includes Game Pass. So for $25 a month, you can get the Series S along with 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate. And so you pay $25 a month, and you get it. There's no down payment, 0% APR, so you're not paying interest, and you get this console. You get this console, and you get Game Pass. For $10 more a month, you get the Series X along with Game Pass Ultimate. Now, people have been quick to mention that there probably aren't going to be a lot of people approved for this. For your credit to be able to handle something that's 0% APR, that's a big ask. And so you probably, either Microsoft is going to be very, very generous, or not very many people are going to be able to do this, because this is a big ask. Like my credit score is not great because I've made some bad decisions, and so I'm kind of worried I won't get accepted into this, because this is the only way I'm getting a Series X at launch. I have a PC that can run all of these games, therefore I have no legitimate reason to own a Series X. But if I only have to pay $35 a month to have this Xbox, why not? I get all the games I want on it, because the PS5 will likely be my box for like all my third-party stuff. So any game I want to play on the Xbox, I will get through Game Pass. And so I don't have to spend any money on the Xbox besides the $35 a month, because that covers my online, that covers Game Pass, that covers the system. And so All Access is probably going to be the only way I get a Series X, or I get it on sale. Either way, if I don't get into All Access, very, 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 very low chance I get it at launch, because I have no reason to. Yeah. And so, yeah, but it is a heck of a deal. Being able to pay as low as $25 a month to get into next gen and have everything covered for you. Because with Game Pass Ultimate, you get Xbox Live Gold, so you have access to online multiplayer. You have Game Pass, which has over 100 games. You also have Game Pass PC, so if you have a PC, you have access to the full library of games over on the PC. And you also have access to EA Play, they just announced today. So this holiday, EA Play's, EA subscription service is going to be included, so you'll be able to play the full catalog of EA games that are available on the subscription service with your Game Pass subscription. And so you already have hundreds of games for $25 a month, as well as a brand new console that you paid nothing for. And so you only do it for 2 years, and then it's yours to keep. I will say, like I said, Game Pass is for 2 years, so after that 2-year mark is up, you will have to start paying the $15 a month or whatever it will be that Ultimate will cost at that point in time, going forward. But then you will own the console, after that 2 years is up. You will have paid off, everything. And again, it's 0% APR, so you're not paying interest on it either. And so there's really nothing to lose on this. The only issue becomes how many people are actually going to be accepted into this program.
Yeah.
And it also begs the question, the people that do get accepted, do they really need to be in it? Because if they have that good enough credit, couldn't they just afford to buy it anyway? I mean, that's not 100% the case, because, there could just be people that are smart with their credit and, aren't in a, super financially stable level anyway. But, the people who really need to use this program are probably people with poor credit scores anyway. And so it'll be interesting to see the acceptance rate of the All Access program. But that's September 22nd.
Which, that's not that far away.
It's not that far away. It's just a few weeks.
Dang.
So,
it's crazy. Yeah. Next gen pre-orders start next week.
Not next week, but
soon. Couple weeks.
Yeah.
Couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happening soon. And PlayStation still hasn't said jack squat, so we'll see what happens there. But that's the one I'm honestly concerned with, because I'm worried about supply there. There's going to be Xboxes. I don't have to worry about that.
Well, did you see how fast that they can make the PlayStation?
Are you talking about the I/O throughput?
Well, it said that they were being able to manufacture.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. They've ramped up production, but I really think that they're going to I'm hoping. I mean, usually what happens with this, it's going to release. I mean, then again, with COVID, Black Friday will be all but non-existent, and so it's they don't have that rush to get to. And really, I mean, retail as we know it has been severely affected. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. we'll probably get another shipment of PS5s before the end of the year, but it's probably not going to be a lot. But I also think it plays to PlayStation's strengths to dwindle that supply because it increases demand.
Like the Switch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that was COVID, and we're now getting back up to regular levels. Like we're starting.
Well,
to
I
see
was talking
Switches
about
and
when they
stuff.
first came out too. Like when the Switch first came out, you could not get a Switch,
That's true. I remember that.
and they definitely did it on purpose. Like there's no way they
Yeah.
didn't have enough Switches.
Yeah. And so, it'll be interesting because, well, honestly, though, at this point, and maybe this is why they ramped up production, is because of getting wind of the Series S, because I think the Series S is what's going to really drive
Yeah, that's
Xbox sales. Because when mom goes in to buy a new Christmas gift for her son, she's going to see a bunch of Series S's on the shelves, whereas the PS5 sold out. It's going to be $300. It's going to be cheaper than anything else, and it's going to be this next-gen console. And so she's going to buy that for her kid. The Series S is going to be the casual gamers. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of people are going to have a Series S.
I'm honestly more impressed with the Series S than the Series X, just because of like how cheap it is.
Yeah, value-wise, yeah, the Series S is insanely impressive. And so it's like, honestly, I think this is a huge win for Microsoft being able to do it. I don't think this means Xbox wins the console war by any means.
Nope.
Like, they still need games, That's kind of the main reason they, But again, for casual gamers, Game Pass is all they need. So
yeah, like Sea of Thieves is really good, and they just added Grounded too, and like that. Those are like they're adding really good, like fun, cartoony, like multiplayer games that you can just hop in and play. Like that's kind of what Microsoft has been doing.
Game Pass is all Xbox needs to win over the casual audience. The problem is that they don't have a single one from the hardcore audience, and so that's what they need to. But like, it comes down to it: do they really need that? How many people in the gaming industry are considered casual gamers? How many people are going to be more so drawn to the Series S than the Series X or PS5?
How many like people do you think that are hardcore gamers not on PC?
That's also a really good point, I mean,
I feel like the most casual gamers mostly play consoles anyways,
Yeah. Well, you look at most of the people I know that play on console still have either a base PS4 or a base Xbox One. They didn't upgrade to the One X or the PS4 Pro because they didn't need to. They don't care about, they're looking for a cheap way to get into this newest thing. And a lot of it comes out with friends. So, a lot of people, if a lot of people's friends buy the PlayStation, then they're going to buy the PlayStation so that they can play with them. However, crossplay is a thing now. I was going to say cross-platform, but crossplay is a thing. But a lot of people don't know that. And I think that's kind of a huge, fault for both Microsoft and Sony. I think that's something they should heavily be marketing. I'm not super surprised that Sony isn't, but I think Microsoft should really be touting that because I think it would really help them if they really make it clear that, hey, and again, this is a game-by-game scenario, so they have to market it really carefully, but they could be like, hey, on our Xbox, you can play with your PlayStation players. You can play with your friends on PlayStation for these games. But again, it depends on the game. The developer has to make that decision.
It's really up to the developer, and also because the developer also has to make it easy for them to communicate. Yeah. Because you can't join a Xbox party from a PlayStation console, so they have to have an in-game chat.
Yeah.
Which Fortnite does a pretty good job of, but honestly, any other game I've played does not have a good in-game mic.
Yeah. And so, it's not something fully developed yet, but I do think that's something that Microsoft should really cash in on. And I think it's a little too late at this point to do that. But because I really think where it matters is right now. Because after this first year, it's, as someone said it, I think it was the previous CEO, whose name I'm forgetting, of Microsoft before Phil Spencer, or of Xbox, not Microsoft. But he said it's first to 20 million. the first console, historically, the first console to hit 20 million units is the winner. That it is the one that sells the most every time. And so this first year, the first one to hit 20 million units is going to determine, because then it becomes, and right now it is looking very, very heavily that PS5 is going to be that console.
Yeah. Pretty hardcore.
And so, Xbox needs all the firepower it can get. And I really think stressing crossplay would be a big thing for them, but it's not something they're doing right now.
Yeah, because they need more games.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they should be doing that they're not. And so, they're doing their best.
Xbox has, I feel like they've been focusing, though, a lot more on multiplayer experiences than Sony,
Yeah, the two production studios are definitely focused on two very different things. And I don't like the way Xbox is doing it, Xbox has come out with good games. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a fantastic game, as well as, its predecessor. Grounded is really, really fun. There are good games. There's a lot of games that have been published by Xbox. Like, Tell Me Why is a fantastic game published by Xbox this year.
You thieves.
They've come out with a lot of really awesome games this year and this gen, But they've been a little smaller. But a lot of them go with the trends. For instance, let's take a look at Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge was trying to cash into the Overwatch hype, and no one really cared. It didn't do well.
Yeah.
They're definitely trying to cash in on different trending areas in gaming. A lot of times, Grounded is them trying to cash in on the survival genre. And, a lot of people weren't super thrilled with Grounded. I personally enjoy it. I know you enjoy it, Bakle. But,
I love that game.
Grounded did not do super well. And, it could obviously change. It's an early access. It still has a long way to go. But where it's at now, people are not super thrilled with it. And so a lot of them have been duds because they've just been trying to enter this market because they don't... It's not even that they don't have a place, because they are literally one of the biggest companies in gaming. But these studios they all act like they haven't made their mark yet. And it's so weird. It's like they have it doesn't seem like they have any originality. And it's so crazy to me that, that's a problem that Xbox is struggling with. Whereas on the other side, SIE, well, I guess now they're called PlayStation Studios, but which literally is just Xbox Studios. They just stole their stuff. Anyway, they basically, and this is my favorite thing about Sony, is that they let their developers do whatever they want. I can't remember if I mentioned this. I've talked to other people about this. I don't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast. But, Death Stranding. It is a weird game. Some people love it. Some people don't. But the fact that Sony trusted Kojima and gave him this huge budget and said, make what you want to make. Let your creativity flow and just make your game. The fact that they do that with all Cory Barlog has also spoken on this, with God of War. They give their developers so much freedom to make their vision. And it's not to say that Xbox doesn't necessarily do this, but just with the quality of the games we've gotten and the types of games we've gotten, it really just doesn't seem like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they feel like they're for consumer. It feels very consumer based, not creative based.
Yeah.
Cool storytelling versus we're coming out with this game that has this gimmick so that you can buy it and play it.
Yeah. Xbox Game Studios seems very corporate influenced, where PlayStation Studios is very developer influenced. And it shows when you look at the average score of a Sony exclusive versus an Xbox exclusive, it's a lot higher. And again, PlayStation has had their their duds. There we go. I was gonna say dubs.
Yeah, dubs is not the right word.
Yeah, they've had their duds. Knack was not a super popular franchise.
Don't even know what that is.
Days Gone, it was really popular with people, but critically didn't do super well. The Last of Us is a very divisive game. Last of Us Part 2 anyway. But it's not like they've all been hits out of the ballpark. But they've come out with a lot of consistently amazing games. Way more, when I think of amazing exclusives, my mind goes way out into Sony territory than Xbox territory.
Oh yeah.
And again, it's not to say that Xbox doesn't have any good exclusives. They do have some, just not near as much as PlayStation. And I think a lot of the reason why they're not quite as memorable is because a lot of them are smaller scale games like Ori. They aren't these big AAA games, and I think that's something that Xbox is severely lacking. But I think they're working towards. We have Fable, we have Avowed, we have Halo. Those are 3 big, massive games. We have a quadruple A game being worked on by the Initiative, and so there are games coming down the pipeline that are going to be big, but we just don't have them yet, and we haven't had them for a long time.
And it's kind of important to have them. Like, you think it'd be important to have them ready for launch, like at least something ready. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like there's only so much they can do about it, Like Phil Spencer does not make every game for Xbox, Like there's only so much they can do to control that, and so I do feel for them. Like I know that this is not what they wanted, but the fact is it's still a problem, and it's something that's going to really, really, really hurt them, and there's really no way around it at this point. Like it's really too late to fix it at this point.
Did we we're still talking about the Series X and Series S price?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, yep. So moving forward with that, next up, we're gonna take a little break from.
We're gonna go to Nintendo World.
Yeah, we're gonna go over to Nintendo because Nintendo just decided to release a bunch of stuff this week too. Because they're like, you know what, we want to be relevant because we haven't been relevant all year because we decided to shut up. Yeah, so let's just announce a crap ton of stuff this week.
We released this cute dog and then we disappeared from the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, they announced. We'll start off with the newest, which is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity was announced.
Yes.
So it is a spiritual successor to 2014's Hyrule Warriors, which recently got brought over to the Switch, but was originally on the Wii U. It is a prequel to Breath of the Wild, which basically tells the story of
some lore.
It gives the background of how things happened in the Calamity to get us to where Breath of the Wild began. It was set 100 years before it's set when Ganon takes over, and so we know ultimately we're going to lose. But this gives more background on Link, Zelda, the 4 champions. We're going to get a lot more lore. We're going to have a lot more background. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff in here, but with the Dynasty Warriors gameplay that we saw in Hyrule Warriors. And so I'm really excited. It is coming out November 20th, which just so happens to be the day after Cyberpunk, which I think is a terrible decision, but I'm still getting it nonetheless. But yeah.
I am pretty excited for this game, mostly because I've always wanted to get some lore about the Sheikah, which is, you remember what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I just want to know more about their civilization and culture. Like, what the heck were they uncovering?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Guardians and stuff like that. Because they didn't go into that really at all.
Well,
they just like, we found them, they modified them, and then they turned on them.
To be fair, I mean, yes, we're gonna get more lore, but like this like Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors franchise. It's not one known for being very story heavy. Like this is definitely a gameplay oriented game.
I feel like they're gonna add some story stuff.
Yes, though. Yeah. And well, they've said that was one of the main points, is that this will include, like, they're going to include a lot of detailed cutscenes that explain the lore of the Age of Calamity of the 100 years before.
I'm hoping for like a Zelda movie with basically like a Zelda movie.
Yeah, and like they've heavily implied this will be a very cinematic experience. Outside of the gameplay, like the cutscenes and everything, it'll be very cinematic. There'll be some really, really cool moments set up by the gameplay that will be carried out through cutscenes and really cool stuff going on there.
I hope to God that they hired better voice actors. At least
I highly doubt that. I highly doubt they got the ones.
I don't think I can watch however many, probably even an hour of them talking.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be like Xenoblade. I don't know how long these cutscenes are going to be, but yeah, I don't know. I highly doubt they got new voice actors.
Man.
But yeah, we're getting that in November.
Woo! Fun.
And then we got a metric ton of information about Mario because it just so happens to be the 35th anniversary. And we've had some rumors, we've had some leaks, we've had some different things going on about maybe a collection coming out. And so they announced, well, basically, they just surprise dropped a Nintendo Direct focused on Super Mario's 35th anniversary. And so I'm going to go over all the stuff that was announced. So, first off, the big one. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is being released on Switch on September 18th. That is literally next Friday. And it includes Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. So 3 games in one package. There's a lot of important things to discuss here because there's a lot of things that people aren't necessarily thrilled about with this. One, this is it's a vault release, basically. So this game will only be available from September 18th until March 31st. And then it will be unavailable to purchase in stores and unavailable to purchase in digital stores. It will be removed from the storefront. They have not made it clear whether it will be playable, like if you bought the digital edition, if it will even be playable after March 31st. I would assume you would be able to. I think that's very, very crappy of them to not let you do that. But, they haven't confirmed that will be the case. And so people are crying, Disney Vault. This is something Disney's been, it had done in the 90s and 2000s. And so, people are crying that. And, it's a good business move because people will buy this because they are worried. For people that are like, oh, well, I'm excited about this, but, I'll get it a little later. They can't do that. So they're going to buy it now. The problem is we're in the middle of a pandemic, Nintendo.
Yeah, we don't got money.
We can't be spending money like this. And it's like, I'm going to get this regardless. But I know people that are hurting that can't really afford this, that really want this, that are going to be potentially missing out on something really great because you wanted to get some more money in your pockets. And it's really annoying.
On a pandemic.
It's really tone deaf for what we're in right now. And I think that's part of the reason it took so long to get announced, because apparently we found some information that apparently this was supposed to be announced months ago, all the way back in April, and so it got pushed back. And so
I almost would have rathered it be announced in April, because then they couldn't really be too, because now it's almost too long they've waited to let it come out just at the end here. I feel like if they would have announced it earlier, nobody would have cared by the time it came out.
I mean, it depends. The supply is not going to be limited. You will not have a problem picking up a copy of this game during the time frame. And it is a pretty long time frame. I mean, you have 6 months to get this game. So.
Is it? Oh, I thought it was coming out earlier.
No. I'm saying that the time frame, the availability of purchasing this game, September to March, that's 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So, if you don't get it immediately, you have time. But, again, we are in a pandemic, and so it's a cheap move to do that. And so people are upset about that. People are also upset because of the exclusion of Super Mario Galaxy 2. This is a $60 game, meaning that each game is valued at $20, which by Nintendo standards is not surprising, but people are still the original Super Mario All-Stars had 4 Mario games. This one only has 3, and it's $60. Yeah. And so people aren't super happy with that. I personally am okay with it because I've never played any of these games, and so to me, it's worth $60. These are all games that I missed because I did not get into genuine console gaming until... Well, just genuine gaming in general, I didn't really get into until 2011, 2012. So I've missed a lot of older games. I did have a Wii, but I mostly had licensed games because that's what my mom knew I liked. And so the only game I really had on the Wii that was, obviously I had Wii Sports, but was New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. That's really the only mainstream game I had for the Wii. I didn't have Smash. I didn't have Super Mario Galaxy. I didn't have all these other I didn't have Mario Kart. So I missed out on a lot of that stuff as a kid, and so I haven't played any of these games, and so I'm really, really excited to be able to jump in, and this is an easy purchase for me. But I understand people's being upset.
Yeah.
And then one more thing, people are not super happy with Super Mario 64. because one, listen, it is very, very, very minusculely touched up, and it is running at 720p docked. Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy will be running at 1080, but Super Mario 64 will be running at 720. And so
That's
people are just, they're not happy with, they are just claiming there's a lack of effort. And I can understand that, especially with the amount of effort that's been put into Resident Evil 2 and 3 and Final Fantasy and just all these other remakes. Like, this isn't the same thing, you know, these are just enhanced ports. But we've seen some really high quality remasters and remakes. This just seems to be a very lazy attempt to cash in. And again, for me, as someone who's never played the games, I personally don't really care that much, but I also understand why people are upset, and I think they have every right to be. As like people who've already played this and want to maybe perhaps experience something new from it or experience it in like the best way they possibly can, this isn't really it. Like, I mean, this is what they're given, but it could have been better.
Definitely could have been better. Nintendo, I don't know what Nintendo's doing, honestly. They've just been like, they released Animal Crossing and then, yeah, that was it really.
Nintendo's very money hungry, and they just have a death wish for hardcore gamers, because they released Animal Crossing on the same day as Doom Eternal, and now they're releasing Hyrule Warriors the day after Cyberpunk, and so they just really want to make us suffer. But you know. So, I mean, again, I can even understand it, because a lot of Switch players, at least a lot of, like, that core, like, the more, like, children, like, that audience, they're not playing Doom or Cyberpunk, you know? And for them, they're not, they probably don't have anything coming out in a while. So, like, this is, like, the perfect time to release for them. It's, like, spatial-wise, you know? And so, I get it. It just sucks for people like us that play all these games.
Yeah.
But... yeah. Another thing that got announced, because there was a lot of stuff, and this one I'm also super excited about. Super Mario 3D World is coming to Switch with a new expansion called Bowser's Fury on February 21st, 2021. So this is similar to, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U and Pikmin 3 Deluxe all coming, except it seems like this is actually going to include a fairly, like, decent, like, expansion, like, new content-wise. We're not sure exactly what Bowser's Fury will entail. They didn't talk about it. It's something we're going to learn about in the future. But, yeah, we are going to get some new content for the game, which is really exciting, because this was basically hailed as the best game on the Wii U. And it's now coming to Switch with new content for people to experience. And so I'm excited about this. It's an easy purchase for me, because I actually just recently bought a Wii U, because I have been collecting, and one of the first games that I purchased was a copy of Super Mario 3D World. So,
wow.
Got announced literally weeks after I purchased this, so I kind of feel a little dumb now, but it's okay. So. Yeah, that's a thing that's happening. I played a little bit of it. I've played before, you know, at people's places and everything, but, you know, I played a little bit of it for myself. But I'm probably just going to wait to play it on Switch at this point. But, yeah. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. But, so, yeah, that got announced. That's exciting. Something I shouldn't be excited for, but I am. So, they announced, and I don't think I told you about, I might have mentioned it. They announced Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
What?
So this is a game that comes out October 15th, and it is basically Mario Kart meets Pokemon Go meets Nintendo Labo. So, yeah. This is...
the heck landed.
So, basically what happens is, you order this kit. I believe it's $100. And it comes
too
with...
much.
Just wait. Just wait.
I don't care. It's too much.
It comes with an RC car, of your choice, choosing between Mario and Luigi, that has a camera attached to it, and you use your Switch as an AR device, and you build a racetrack in your own home using different things that the cart will identify as check marks, like checkpoints. That is also included in the kit. And so you make your own custom tracks at home, and you use the Switch to race the RC car. There can be up to 4 players local co-op, meaning you'd have to shell out $400 total if you wanted to do that. So don't recommend that. But, you know, you can. And so it's
really want it.
Yeah, it's really it's definitely very child geared. I'm very interested to see how, like, it's I'm interested to see the functionality, because what happens is, like, when you use power-ups on other ones, like if you get hit with a shell, your RC car stops for a second. Like, it knows that you've been hit by a shell. And like when you slip on a banana peel or get frozen or different things like that, like, it's really cool. The technology that they are implementing here is really interesting and really cool, and I really want to, you know, see how well it functions. It's just the fact that I'm playing with RC cars, like, as a 21-year-old man. Like,
we might have to think about that and maybe race each other.
Oh yeah, because I'm getting this.
You are getting it?
I regret it, but I'm getting it. And so, you know, if you also decide to get it, for sure, or actually, what probably more likely, I can get it, you can come up and try it, and if you like it, then you can get one and we can race each other. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Interessante for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, the physical cart does respond to boosts, and then it stops when it gets hit with an item. And then, like I said, you can create custom courses in your home, and just, it looks really, really interesting. And I'm just, you know, there's a lot of room for error here, but they seem pretty confident with it. So I'm excited to see if they can pull this off. And it looks like if they do pull it off, it's something that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see too, just some of the tracks that you can build. Like,
it's literally whatever you want. So basically, what you have is you have like checkpoint flags that you set up throughout your home, and then it scans where they're at, and like you can create guidelines to follow. And so you can create it, like, it can be just like
a regular, like, like a programmable robot, kind of like.
So like you can create just a roundabout, or you can create something with a lot of zigzags, or like whatever you want. Like, you can create something with a lot of loops, something super complex.
You could build, like, you could get like a stair ramp or something.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Crazy. Like, that's
whatever your imagination does.
That would be awesome. Like, that'd actually be really fun.
Yeah.
And stupid, but it'd be super fun.
Yeah. And so I'm very interested to see this. It's going to be interesting. Another thing that got announced, we're still going. They announced a bunch of stuff.
Really?
So this one's something I'm not super duper interested in, but it's something cool. That's why I'm mentioning it. They are releasing a Game & Watch that includes Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and a special version of Ball with a Mario makeover. It will also feature a clock with 35 little touches to discover, apparently. And it'll be released on November 13th. So if you are, you know, a big fan of, like, the old Nintendo days, you know, they're coming out with a special Game & Watch for you special collectors. This is basically, you know, for people that were interested in the NES Classic Edition and all that sort of stuff. If you like collecting old memorabilia, this is for you. It's got a lot of cool nostalgic things to it.
Watch?
Heck no. And it's you do know what a Game & Watch is, right? It's not actually a watch.
Well, no, I don't know what it is. No.
It's basically like a Game Boy, but for Mario specifically.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also functions as a clock, so that's why it's Game and Watch.
Yeah.
It's also a character in Smash. That's where it comes from, Bakle. The more you know.
Crazy. That's crazy. I hate that guy, but that's crazy.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's coming out November 13th. And then this one is one I'm very interested in. I'm going to be checking out mostly because I get it for free. They're coming out with a Mario Battle Royale game.
What?
Called Super Mario Bros. 35. So this is very much taking off of the success of Tetris 99. It actually sounds super interesting and definitely very chaotic. I feel like I'm going to be bad at this, but this is another timed game. So this is a digital-only game exclusive to Nintendo Switch Online members from October 1st until March 31st. So ends at the same time. But basically how this works is 35 players are playing the original Super Mario courses. But then as they play, their actions affect the other players. So when they kill an enemy, that enemy then goes to another person's game. When they then get randomly, I think it's random.
Whoa.
They have random opportunities to affect someone with the most amount of coins, or the most amount of kills, or the highest, the fastest time, different things like that. And so you're affecting other players' gameplay, as well as trying to just get through the course yourself. And so it's really, really interesting. I think it's going to be crazy. It looks nuts. But yeah, it's going to be free for Nintendo Switch Online players starting October 1st. So it's not available now. It'll be available October 1st, and then will be available to be played. Yeah, I'm very interested to play it. And so, yeah, that's a thing. Also, there's more.
Still going.
We're still
Holy
going.
cow.
We're
still going.
This was an awesome direct. So the day the direct came out, so this is available now. It's been available for a few days. Super Mario All-Stars, the original collection, is playable on the Nintendo Switch. It is. So as part of the SNES Online collection, you can play the upgraded versions of Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and the Lost Levels. And so you have access to that original collection as it was on the SNES as part of your Nintendo Online subscription. So if you're interested, if you want that nostalgia bit with the enhanced 16-bit graphics, you can play that right now on your Switch with Online. And so, other than that, they did say some different stuff. Basically, from now until March, there's going to be a bunch of in-game celebrations for Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary. So, from yesterday until the 23rd, Mario Kart Tour will have a special Super Mario Kart Tour event, which will feature appearances from the SNES Mario and SNES Donkey Kong Jr. from the original Super Mario Kart. A 35th anniversary themed Ninja Speedrun course will arrive in Super Mario Maker 2 in November. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will have an in-game online tournament using Super Mario Series fighters, stages, and items in November and December. A Super Mario-themed Splatfest is coming to Splatoon 2 in January that asks the question, which Super Mario power-up do you prefer, supersize with a Super Mushroom or become invincible with a Superstar? There will also be special keychains and t-shirts available as a My Nintendo reward closer to the Splatfest. As well as in March, Super Mario-themed furniture will be available in Animal Crossing New Horizons. So there's going to be a bunch of little in-game stuff to celebrate the 35th anniversary across the next 6 months. And so, again, there are rumors that all this stuff was supposed to be announced, or at least this was supposed to start being announced in April. But because of COVID, things were pushed back, and so it all just kind of got dumped on us at one time.
Sweet. We love it.
Yeah. One more quick thing.
Okay. All right. Let's.
So you have the opportunity to collect an exclusive pin set for this 35th anniversary. So pin, like the things you put on your shirt.
Okay.
And so set 1 includes Mario from Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and Super Mario 64. So it's actually fairly easy to get this. So all you have to do is pre-order Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and you just have to do it anytime before launch. And then you have to do a few online missions, basically. And so I haven't personally looked at the missions myself yet. I'm actually looking at them right now. But they are pretty easy. You just have to log in with your My Nintendo. And then, so I'm seeing this, again, you have to complete, what was it? Did I just say, it says doing a few, but I think it's 4. Yeah, you have to complete 4 additional Mario-themed missions. And the missions are something like visit the official Super Mario website, take the Super Mario quiz, download your This Is My Mario image. Like super easy stuff that doesn't take a long time. race in the Super Mario Kart Tour event. So just like participating in the celebrations, and you enter into a chance to win these collectible pin sets. And so that's all you need to do. And so it is available while supplies last. And so, but the thing is that people won't know when they get these pins. Like, they won't know until Super Mario All-Stars releases. So if you were, at least to my understanding, if you were to pre-order 3D All-Stars the day before it comes out and complete these missions, you're going to have the same chance as someone who did it when they talked about it, because it's not going to unlock until All-Stars comes out. And so it is available while supplies last, but yeah, if you want to do that, that's something you can do and get some cool pins. And so that's it. I promise. That's all.
We're done with gaming news.
So yeah, they announced a lot.
Alcohol. Whoa. I saw my drink. He's sitting over there.
Oh, nice.
And I just got like a whiff of mangoes.
And so yeah, that was everything announced at the Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct, which was quite a bit. And so something we wanted to talk about more in depth here, but it's honestly something we've covered a lot of already. And so it's not necessarily something I want to go too necessarily in depth in, because it's already been over an hour.
We probably will go deep into it though. Yeah,
and I'm just saying that to preface. But I want to talk about the big, I mean, this is what the podcast episode is called. I want to talk about the Big Three's 2020 strategies, because we've seen very different stuff, but honestly kind of similar the more I think about it. Basically what has happened, I know how I just like totally like retcon myself, but people adapting to COVID. And I do want to make it very clear, I don't think this strategy was something any of them planned this year. I don't think Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox was like, hey, we're not going to tell people anything all year because we hate people. You know, COVID was a huge deal. It was a pandemic that affected everybody. Everybody's just struggling to survive right now and just, you know, make it in this new environment that we are all in, and just, you know, keep going and try to have some sense of normalcy. And so, you know, it's important to know that, you know, this was not their plan. But I would like to talk about, you know, the things that they've been doing. And so, since we've been talking about Nintendo, I'd like to start out with them, to which the point where everybody was complaining for so long. What is Nintendo doing? Going into 2020, we knew about Animal Crossing. That was it. We had good guesses about, you know, what could potentially be coming. We're like, yeah, are we going to get Metroid Prime this year? Are we going to get Bayonetta this year? Are we going to get Breath of the Wild 2 this year? You know, we had some guesses, but Animal Crossing was the only thing we knew about. And then that came out, and then we still didn't know anything. And we went for months of nothing. We got some Pokemon news, and so that happened. But a bunch of just stuff getting announced but not release dates, and we're just like, okay. And then they're like, hey, Paper Mario out in a month. And we're like, oh, this is interesting. It comes out. Okay, now what? Pikmin 3 out in 2 months. Oh, okay. What else you got? Just like they just like they've been so quiet. And again, COVID, I'm sure, is a huge factor. It seems like that's what happened with the Super Mario thing, that this was going to be something that was drawn out for a long time, but they couldn't do events. They probably had a lot of in-person events. E3 probably would have been an awesome Mario setup.
They probably would have won E3 again, dude.
They probably would have had an amazing, like,
yeah, it would have been like, it's the anniversary. They would have had a crazy Mario theme going. Crazy Mario theme.
Nintendo had like the best.
All out.
Nintendo had the best booths at E3 last year. Like, the Pokemon booth was so extravagant and awesome. They had a really cool Luigi's Mansion booth. They had an awesome Link's Awakening booth. Like, they went all out last year at E3, and it was super fun and super awesome. It would have been.
They would be the company to do that.
It would have been so cool to see what they would have done with Mario and Hyrule Warriors. You know, these things that we now know about. We could have gotten some awesome booths for and see some cool. I'm sure there would have been a lot of other events they would have hosted. for the 35th anniversary. They just had to cancel.
You could have met Mario again.
Yeah, I could have seen Mario again. It was really cool. I don't think I actually have the picture with me. That makes me really sad. I have an autographed photo of him, but I do have a photo with him in my phone somewhere. But that's blurry because I freaked out. So I'm mad
It's
about
Mario.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to take up too much time, but also, it's Mario. And so, yeah, I would have been able to, see Doug Bowser again. That would have been cool. But, COVID kind of ruined that.
COVID had to ruin everything, dude. Everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's reasons behind this, but the fact is that Nintendo was just like, no to everything. This is like, you want to talk about your games? No. Nah.
Man.
Oh, yeah, Mario 3D Collection out in 2 weeks. It's fine.
Yes.
Wait. Hey, we're coming out with a Zelda game like 2 months from now. Just letting you guys know. Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
It's almost like they planned everything for E3, and then E3 didn't happen like it was supposed to, and then they've just forgot that didn't happen, and they're trying to slowly catch back up. They're like, why isn't anybody talking about our games? I'm like, oh, because we haven't said anything about them.
When E3 was originally canceled, everybody was talking what's going to happen?
We bought our tickets. It was.
Well, they were people were wondering, what's going to happen. Bethesda originally said they were going to do their own showcase, but then that never happened. They were like, no, we're not going to do it. And then we got rumors that Nintendo's project was scrapped. Whatever they were working on for E3, they were not doing anymore. They weren't going to, have because Nintendo, they are very active in E3, but they have not had a live E3 showcase in 5 years. Their showcase is all digital, and they bring their games to E3, but they don't have a live showcase. So this was not a huge blow to Nintendo, and honestly, they could have went on. They could have had it. I think a big reason why it didn't happen is because release dates shifting. I think, it would have been a big deal.
Yeah,
and so, because of them not
Honestly.
being sure about release dates for anything. And I think that's a lot of the reason why we're not getting these things. They want to be sure that they're not going to have COVID delays before they announce a game's release date. When you typically think of Nintendo, they rarely delay games. I mean, game delays in Nintendo's line is basically they never announce the release date, and it just disappears for a while. Like Breath of the Wild, they never delayed that game.
I'm sure it was delayed.
Yes, it appeared, and then because it was supposed to come out for the Wii U. I mean, it technically did. It just was a launch game for the Switch. But it was supposed to come out before March 2017. But they never announced a release date because they didn't do it until they were confident they would hit that date. And so Nintendo is pretty against delays. So again, I'm not super surprised this is the route they took. I'm just not happy with it.
Not too thrilled.
It's again, I don't have a lot of money right now. I am making a third of what I made last year and a seventh of what I made this summer right now. I don't have money. I can't be dropping $60 with 2 weeks notice, I'm getting paid on Friday. I have enough where I can get Super Mario 3D All-Stars. And so, praise Jesus that I can do that, but it could be going to more important things. I'm just saying. I could have prepared a little bit more, but I didn't know. And it's the same thing with PlayStation and Xbox. And so we're also going to do that. PlayStation has had the exact same methodology, except with their console too.
Everything. They just aren't saying jack squat. I'm starting to feel like it doesn't even exist. The next generation of Sony just doesn't exist.
Well, let's look at Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, honestly, they really didn't talk a whole lot about this game.
Yeah, I didn't even know it really existed until 2 months before it was supposed to come out.
They did very little marketing for it, and I think it's because they didn't really need to, and it shows. I mean, it sold like hotcakes.
people ate it up.
Yeah.
As soon as it like blew up on social media, that's when people like they saw it on social media is what is like
Well,
started
as
to
soon as they showed
blow
off
up.
the gameplay, as soon
Yeah,
as we got
yeah.
that deep dive into the
That
gameplay,
deep
people
dive,
were
yeah,
like,
everyone was like, "This game is crazy." What?
you know, so they, they got lucky. It was good, but like,
Yeah.
but they just what the heck? Like they didn't do barely any marketing. They basically focused all their marketing efforts on The Last of Us.
Yeah, I remember talking about that because we were like, really, because I think I remember talking to you about how confused I was that they didn't advertise the Ghost of Tsushima because of how like they definitely knew they had a good game on their hands. Like, there's no way that they were just like in the back end, just some guy working in the corner made Ghost of Tsushima. Like, they knew this game was gonna be good.
Well, I think part of their problem is, The Last of Us got delayed. It was supposed to come out a while before Ghost of Tsushima. Then it came out less than a month before Ghost of Tsushima. So they had to choose, how they wanted to prioritize their marketing.
I guess, yeah, keep the hype for
And so, yeah.
Last of Us, yeah.
Although, I mean, to their benefit, I mean, in their defense, a lot of the casual gamers that say played The Last of Us on PS3, maybe they're not in the limbo and they didn't even know Part 2 was coming out. So for them to market it to let people know, oh, hey, and like if they don't even have a PS4, be like, oh my gosh, they're coming out with a new Last of Us. I got to get a PS4. Like, it makes sense that they went this route. They wanted to make sure everybody knew, hey, there's another Last of Us game coming out. I need to get this. Ghost of Tsushima, it's a new IP. It's less reliable. It makes sense business-wise to focus the marketing on that. But I don't think, again, I think it's something that if The Last of Us had not been delayed, if it would have come out in February as it was supposed to, we would have seen a lot more marketing for Ghosts.
Probably, yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that, honestly.
Yeah. But because it got pushed, they had to prioritize the game that they thought they needed to more. And so, yeah.
I got mixed reviews.
Yeah. I need to finish it. It's one of those. It's one
You
of the top
haven't beat
games.
it yet?
No.
I thought you beat it.
Nope. I played a ton of it when it first came out. Like, I literally stayed up all night playing it at
Yeah,
launch.
like that's why I thought you beat it, because I thought you just like played through and that you just muscled through it. Right?
Nope, because the second act sucks, and so I didn't like playing it. So I just
Does it actually? So it gets bad? Because I remember you telling me that you thought it was pretty good.
The first act of the game is a goddamn masterpiece, and I meant to say that. It is so beautiful and so well done, and the story is amazing, the gameplay is amazing, it is perfection. But then avoiding spoilers, because it is still a fairly new game, and it's 2020, and you haven't played it, and you need to play it.
Yeah.
But avoiding spoilers, basically, they spend a lot of the second act attempting to get you to empathize with someone that I have no intention of empathizing with. I do not like this bitch. I do not care for this bitch. I don't want to care for this bitch. Stop trying to force this bitch down my throat. And so a lot of people have agreed with me. I've talked with people about it. And so this is not an unpopular opinion. Some people just take it a lot further than I do. I don't think it's by any means a bad game, but a lot of people take one of the spoilery aspects, one of the things that got leaked, they don't like that way of storytelling, and I can understand why. I just personally think it was done well. Where I tend to just be like, okay, and maybe it will be different. The third act could tie it all together where, fine, maybe I'll like this bitch, but right now I don't. And so, again, I want to finish it. I will finish it.
Fine.
Fine. Okay, whatever. But like, where I'm at right now and what ultimately caused me to like lose some interest in the game and not finish it is, they're really trying to force me to like this person that I don't want to like for reasons that are spoilers, but like, it's just not something I want to do. I only care about Ellie, so just give me Ellie. That's all I care about. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it deserved all of the hate. Like, the voice actress for one of the characters was getting death threats because she was getting
That's not cool.
Yeah, she was getting death threats because of her character in the game, and
Jeez.
And so
people need to chill.
People were so pissed off about this game, and so they were sending death threats to her. There were some death threats to Neil Druckmann, the director. Just lots of really pissed off fans that took it way too far.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't like a game, but shouldn't threaten someone's life. Really, that's just not
Ever.
a thing you should do. Just, but
On for really mostly any reason.
yeah, it's just general rule of thumb. But yeah, so this is why I don't like I don't like gaming Twitter. That's just where I'm at. Like, I don't
toxic.
interact with it. Kiddos, never reply to an Xbox or a PlayStation tweet. Don't do it. It will never end well because you will be sucked into a pit of madness and despair, as I have been sucked into today. And so I will never do it again.
Yeah, I only read one interaction between him and this Gandalf guy, and it was...
At the time of this recording, I have made 47 tweets in response to a reply I made to an Xbox tweet, because everybody has crucified me on Twitter because I said that there are good things to the PS5. It was the worst decision of my life. Yeah, there's a...
So the PS5 is good.
You can't say it. You can't say it on Xbox, and you can't say the Xbox is good on PlayStation Twitter. You can't do it.
No.
You can't do it. You can't like both consoles. You have to pick one. Okay?
Yeah.
And like I said, I love Xbox, but that doesn't mean I can't critique it, Like
Xbox definitely has the better operating system for sure. Like, it's easier to navigate. It has the better, I think, almost I kind of want to call it an ecosystem, but just the way you interact. Yeah, the way you interact with it. It's just and the way you interact with your friends too. It's so the Xbox app on my computer is so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It registers my Xbox controller right away. I can navigate through with my Xbox controller. But Microsoft does good things with all of their software, and that's where I think Xbox has always beaten out Sony. Is just ease of use, because Sony's I get confused in Sony, and I did computer science. The PlayStation is garbage when it comes to the operating system.
Well, just look at Xbox Live. Xbox was the first console to even have multiplayer. PlayStation 2 was not built to have multiplayer, but then they were forced to add it because they had to compete with Xbox. And so it's Xbox technology-wise has always made the leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that Sony just has the resources, which is crazy to me because Microsoft owns PCs. They have the Windows, or they have
Windows.
Yeah,
they own
Windows.
How are you not?
How are you not?
You are the operating
Sony?
system.
Yeah.
Unless you're using Linux, but you're not using Linux unless you're a computer nerd.
It blows my mind that Microsoft is letting Sony just ram them into the ground right now. And
There's
it's just
no way they should be.
And again, I love Phil Spencer. I love what he's done for the consumers. But if he doesn't do something to turn the tide in this first year of the Series X, which is just getting harder and harder every day to do.
Yeah, it's an uphill climb, and it just keeps getting steeper.
I genuinely don't think he can lead Xbox. As much as I love him, as much as I think he is doing great things for the consumers, he's not doing great things for the company. And I would not be surprised at all if he is removed and replaced, because he's not doing good things for the company. He's not getting them. He's losing them a ton of money. And it's largely due to the decisions he is making, which are pro-consumer but not pro-business. And Xbox needs to play dirty if they want to compete.
At least a little bit.
You can still be morally good while remaining competitive. We have to remember that these are businesses, okay? These are huge, multi-million-dollar corporate businesses. And, as much as we would love for Xbox's strategy to be what prevails, that's not how businesses work. And, like I said, in the PlayStation ecosystem, people are not suffering. They are getting all these exclusives. They're getting all this exclusive content. They're getting all these cool features. Xbox is it's the other people that are suffering. And, if Xbox starts to play dirty, then it's, then they'll start to suffer. And so it's almost like someone, you could make the case that someone needs to fail. Like Xbox, in order for Sony to not suffer, Xbox shouldn't be competitive because then Sony's not losing anything. However, that then gives Sony the opportunity to take advantage because they don't have any competition.
Yeah.
And
They can
so
just monopolize
exactly.
everything.
And so it's putting a lot of faith in Sony to not take advantage of that. And again, so far they haven't really. But that's a huge dangerous bet.
Yeah, corporate, like any big company is
Yeah.
sketchy. No matter how good you think they are, they're sketchy.
Yeah.
Like even like I mean, I was gonna say even Google. Well, especially Google.
Yeah.
But I trust them with my life still.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but ultimately, we just love video games, and we want to
Yeah.
play video games, and we want to experience video games. We want to build a community. I mean, that's a lot of the reason I started streaming on Twitch. I'm building a really cool small community over there, and we're just enjoying playing video games, man, and that's what it's all about. And so, console wars aside, you know, a bunch of awesome games have come out this year. A bunch of awesome games have come out this generation. Some of the best of all time, in my opinion. And it's like, let's just remember we can celebrate that,
Yeah.
And having this competition is why these things exist. Xbox is pressured into making quality games to compete with Sony and vice versa. And so we're getting these quality games because of this competition. And so just remembering there are some good sides to it, but also remembering at the end of the day, everybody loves video games and we just want to enjoy them.
Yes.
And with that, we are moving on from this discussion.
See you later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing this week before we get out of here. And so I've been playing a lot of games this week.
Yeah, I saw your list.
Yeah, it's a lot. So streaming wise, I played a lot of games this week. It was a big week this past week for me. I finished up the Fractured Butthole. I'm playing through the DLC right now, so I'm not like officially finished yet. Tonight I'm gonna be streaming the end of that DLC. So I'm gonna be wrapping up Fractured Butthole tonight officially. I played episode 2 of Tell Me Why. And so tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming the finale of Tell Me Why. I'm super excited about that. Come check that out if you're interested. I also checked out Crusader Kings 3, which is a really complex and really, really fun game. It is another game that is free on Game Pass, so Bakle, this is something you could check out.
Okay.
It is basically if Sid Meier's Civilization got a degree in historical studies. So you basically are in charge of a ruler, like not a king. You start from the bottom and you have to work your way up. You are like the duchy of a land, and it's super realistic, super complex. So you have to look at politics and who you're allied with, and then wage war on people to try to take over, but you have to look at who they're allied with, and you can make connections with people, you can break connections with people. If you make alliances with certain people, other people won't like you, and everything you do is constantly being monitored by everyone else around you and will affect their opinion of you, and you can use that to gain certain favors. You can take people hostage to gain favors over them. You can either do it, by doing good things for them or by forcing them to do you favors. Just the sheer amount of choice in this game is absolutely nuts. It's insanely well rated. It got a 10 out of 10 on IGN, and it's sitting at, I believe, a 91 on Metacritic. So very highly rated, and it deserves it. It's a super complex and thorough game. History buffs are gonna love this game. It was very complex for me to do, but I was getting the hang of it, so it does have some pretty good accessibility options in it. There is a lot of depth to it, so it's fairly easy to pick up, but very difficult to master. And so there's a whole lot of depth to it. It's really, really cool. I really enjoyed it a lot. I also streamed some more Wasteland 3 because I really love that game. Just more crazy stuff happened. I'm trying to think of what happened during my 4 hours that I played. The prisoner didn't show up. So I still have yet to see my runaway prisoner person. But what did I do? I did some more story. I got a little bit further in with the story. I got some new crew members. I did some cool things with that. I took down a mob boss, so that was pretty cool. I had the option to. So basically, what happened is this crime boss was involved in the. I'm gonna get into some mild spoilers here. So if you are concerned with, I'm just saying for the podcast.
Oh,
if you're concerned about spoilers for Wasteland 3, I am gonna get into some mild story spoilers. But there's a point in the game where you are investigating who on the inside of your town let an attack happen, and you go in with this mob boss who may have potentially been involved. He says that it was one of his workers. He was not involved. It was someone who works under him and rats him out. And so once you go to that place, you discover a letter that says the mob boss wasn't involved, but he knew about it because he was trying to tell him to stop. But he knew about it, and he was telling him to stop because it would cause trouble for him, not because he genuinely cared. And so the mob boss knew about it, but he told us he had no idea. And so I had a choice on whether or not to take him down, because another thing he did was he took one of the deputies of the town hostage. And so he wasn't innocent by any means. And so he was offering us, if we pinned everything on his guy, then he would let the deputy go and everything would be fine. I was like, nah, you broke the law. So I killed his people and took him down. And so I took down everybody. I took down the one guy. I took down the fall. Like, I was like, I gave no fucks. I was just like, fuck you guys. But yeah, so I did that. That was my choice. And so so when you arrest somebody, which you do a lot in this game because you're basically a sheriff, you have the option on whether to send them to the brig in your HQ or to send them to the town jail. If you send them to the town jail, the local sheriff will like you better. But if you send them to the HQ, you have direct influence on what to do with them, basically. And so the sheriff will not be as pleased with you. So I've sent all of them to my HQ because the sheriff is crooked as shit. I do not like her. And so I'm like, because they're, again, like I talked about last time, how they were going to hang that kid for vandalism, or they were going to kill this kid for vandalism. I don't like their justice system. And so I was like, no, I'm not giving you any of these criminals. And so my brig is filled with people. Like, I have so many people in my prison, but like, yeah, that's what I choose to do. And so I'm probably gonna suffer a little bit for that, but it's something I choose to do because I'm doing the right thing. I am having a moral justice compass. I'm not letting this corrupt sheriff do stupid things to these criminals. But yeah, so I also stopped one of my playable characters from killing one of the principal bad characters because he was involved in the death of her parents, and so she wanted to kill him, and I stopped her and arrested him instead. So that was something I could also change. So he is still alive because of me.
Good job.
Yeah.
Save that man.
Yeah, and now he's in jail, and he's remorseful of what he did. So I'm hoping to try to, like, convert him to the cause a little bit. You know, he's going to rot in there for a little bit, but, like, eventually I'll get him, maybe have some use for him. But, yeah, there's a whole lot of choice in there. I really like it a lot, and so that's a thing. And then outside of that, I've been playing some Control. That's a game I've been meaning to finish for a long time. I never did. And so I'm hoping to finish it up this weekend, but it's so much fun. I explained it to you the other day. You know, it's basically X-Files meets X-Men. Yeah. A lot of really stuff. I unlocked the levitation ability now, so I can do that. Ooh. It's so much fun combining the gunplay with the telekinesis. And so basically what happens is because you don't have set amounts of ammo. Basically what happens is your gun charges. So you have a certain amount of shots in the charge, and then you have to let it recharge. So you have to, like, when you're aiming your gun doesn't recharge. You have to put it away for it to recharge. You have to, like, stop aiming down sights for it to recharge. And so if you completely deplete it, it takes a lot longer to recharge. So you have to deplete, like, most of it and then let it recharge a little bit. Then continue shooting, you know what I mean? And so getting into that flow of, like, shooting and then, okay, use some telekinesis. And you also have a certain amount of energy that if you expend all of it, it will take longer to recharge. So like finding that balance, it's really fun, like strategizing and like upgrading your energy and upgrading your, weapons and things like that. Finding that unique, finding that right balance between it and being able to really do some awesome damage. Like I upgraded the crap out of my telekinesis. So basically I grab an object and completely demolish anybody with it. Like I chuck it at somebody and they're dead. They're just poof. And so I love it. I upgraded the heck out of it. And so it does so much damage. I love it to death. And I also have like perks that make it so it doesn't consume as much energy. So I'm just like
spam.
I love it. It's super fun. But yeah, it's an amazing game. That is available through PlayStation Now. So there's a way to play that for free potentially if you have that service. But I've also been playing some Ring Fit Adventure, trying to get a little swole here when I'm not sore because I overwork myself. And so my legs have been sore pretty consistently for like 2 weeks now because I'm dumb. But
happens.
Yeah, so we've been doing some of that. I played some Grounded with you the other day, and that's always fun.
Woo! Grounded is always fun.
It's fun, but it can be infuriating sometimes because those frickin' spiders, man.
We also chose like Spider Central.
Yeah, we decided to camp out right where they're at, so it's fine. We need an extra challenge. It's cool. It's cool. We've got to make the game interesting. But I also have been playing some Siege with my roommate because he plays it on the collegiate esports, and so I've been trying to get into it a little with him. I'm not very good. I played very little of Siege, but it's fun. And then I've been getting into Among Us. Gabe,
how is that?
It's really fun. It's a really fun party game, but you need a bunch of people to have a lot of fun with it. It's like Jackbox. It's like one of those things that you can play solo, like you can play online, but it's not near as fun. Playing it with a group of friends over Discord or whatever makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, because actually Matt was telling me about that.
It's a lot of fun. And it's like, have you played the one Jackbox game? It's in one of the newer ones where one of them's an alien and you have to figure out which one it is.
Well, I think it's like Troublesome Terrorist Town.
Yes.
On Gmod.
Yes. So you basically have to complete tasks, and then someone is an imposter and is killing off the other players, and you have to figure out who it is. Yeah. And so it's really fun though. We played it for a few hours the other night, and we might be playing it later tonight. I don't know. But cool. It's really fun, and it's also free on mobile. So it's completely free on Android and iOS, and it's $5 on Steam. So it's super, super easy to get into. I have it on Steam, but it's also cross-play with all of it. And so, yeah, you can literally get into this for free. But it's super fun. It's super fun. The servers are absolutely terrible, partly because, it is a free /$5 game. So because of the massive spike in people, the servers crash a lot. And so it can be hard during peak hours to get a game going. But once you actually get in, there aren't issues. But getting into a game can be really, really difficult during peak hours. Like you have to try to get in like 20 times. But other than that, they are also working on a sequel, which will have a bigger scope and, hopefully not the server issues because of the massive success now. Because this is not a new game. It just randomly got popular.
It did? So, I thought it was new. Like, that's what I was so confused about. I was like, what? Like, where's this game that people are playing all of a sudden?
Yeah, I've been meaning to do more research on it, but it came out in 2018. So it's a 2-year-old game. It's
a couple years old.
Yeah, it's a 2-year-old game that just randomly got popular on Twitch. That's how it got popular. And so, yeah. So now everybody's playing it. So yeah, they're working on a sequel now. So that will probably, fix a lot of issues. But it's really, really fun. But yeah. And so what have you been playing this week, Bakle?
Well, I've been playing a lot of games. Like I said, I worked a lot. But I did play Rocket League, like I always do. I'll probably play Rocket League every week. Trying to get that diamond level. Still not there. Then I played some Ghost of Tsushima, which we talked about it last week a little bit, and then it kind of like put me in the mood to just like want to play it a little bit, maybe advance the story, which I did. I played a couple story missions. It was pretty fun, got some emotional stuff going. Yeah, but it was good times. Then obviously I played some Grounded, which I remember totally playing.
all right. So yeah, fun. All right. So we've been talking for almost 2 hours, Bakle.
Holy cow!
It's
Time
been,
goes by a little fast.
yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I know this can be daunting for viewers and listeners, but like, we had genuine conversations, and that's why I don't like necessarily setting time restrictions on these things, because we go off on tangents, but it's still in the gaming
relevant tangents.
They're relevant tangents to the podcast.
And some, the hardcore gamers would definitely kind of want to listen to that, I feel like.
Yeah, and like you have different things going on, like it enables you, like that's why I love listening to gaming podcasts, is because it lets you think about things that you might not have necessarily thought about before. That's why I listen to a lot of podcasts in preparation for this, to get other people's opinions, to be like, oh, I never thought about that, and just sort of like get myself thinking about different things in gaming, which like it gives you a deeper appreciation for the industry. When you start thinking about these things, it's not just for, oh, I can make better predictions on what's coming out. Seeing these opinions, it helps you, find games you might have missed by hearing people talk about it, or just getting newfound appreciations for something that you might not have appreciated necessarily, a game that you didn't really give much of a chance, but then you hear people talking about it and are like, oh wow, maybe I was too harsh on it, or the opposite. Just it opens up a lot of discourse and a lot of opportunities for the industry, and for you to further engage with the industry and learn more new things and appreciate it more. And so that's why I don't like really capping things. I know a lot of people do, and I don't blame them, because listening to a 2-hour-long podcast is a lot. But so we did it.
You're welcome. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. But so we'll be back next week, talking about something. I don't know.
Thanks.
Like I said,
stuff. Video games, probably.
Again, we don't really have anything coming out this week, unless Spelunky 2 just turns out to be a smash hit, which is potentially the thing.
The first one was pretty good.
Exactly.
From what I've seen, read.
Yeah. So, maybe we'll talk about Splatoon. Or Splatoon. Maybe we will.
maybe Splatoon will just get super popular.
No. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying Nintendo's going to be like, Splatoon 3 out next month.
Thanks, Nintendo.
All right, there's my prediction, folks. That's with
I'm gonna be so mad.
All my gaming knowledge. Splatoon 3 next month. There you go.
Hey, I mean, it's 2020.
Honestly, at this point,
count that out.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I genuinely would, since they just announced an event for Splatoon 2 for Super Mario. But they've done weirder things. Yeah, so
they are Nintendo.
Yeah, psych, it wasn't an event for Splatoon 2. It's actually for 3. We just didn't want to announce it yet. So there you go. That's why it's all the way in, March? No, February? Whatever. But, yeah. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Again, we talked about a lot of stuff. If you have anything to add to the conversation, if you're on YouTube, go comment down below. If you are listening to a podcast, go to my freaking YouTube channel. Check it out. Comment. Discuss. We want to talk with you guys. We want to be able to hear what you guys have to say. And so, join the discourse. Talk with us. All sorts of cool things. So, Bakle, is there anything you want to plug right now before we're going? Anywhere where they can find you, where they could talk with you, where they could meet with you, perhaps get some brunch? Please don't take that seriously. But, anything you want to
I do not actually. I plan on getting some social media stuff going, because I want to make my own, not my personal stuff, but I want to make a gaming, and probably not have a lot of my own personal followers go there. I want to start from scratch type of thing. So in the future, I do plan on making some social media outlets and some videos and stuff like that. But as of right now, I got nothing for anybody.
Got your beautiful face.
Got my beautiful face.
Yeah. Well, over on this end, I've got a lot of stuff, because I'm more put together than Bakle is.
Maybe. Possibly, yeah.
In some ways, but in others, definitely not. Financially, definitely not. But, like I've mentioned before on the channel, on this podcast, I stream on Twitch. So twitch.tv/PanamasterTwitch. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I also do a bunch of bonus streams, and so I stream a bunch more than I really should because it takes up a lot of my time. But I enjoy it a lot. It's something I love to do. And like I said, I've had some really interesting discussions with people on there. Just building a community and being able to play games together. It's really, really fun. I'm also going to be streaming Fall Guys tonight, so that's going to be something that's happening. I'm really excited because that gives me the chance to potentially play with viewers, different things like that. Really, just increase that engagement. And so go ahead and check that out if that's something you're fancying. I also am on YouTube if you're not watching, at PandaMaster. I've also got social media. That's just my name at Plumley_Landon, PLUMLEY_LANDON. You can find me on Twitter. That's where I usually update most of this stuff talking about like my Twitch and YouTube, different things like that. I usually update things on there, keep stuff updated, keep everything up to date. I know I've said updated like 6 times, and I severely apologize, but that is where you can find me doing all sorts of stuff. I try to be sort of regular. And I try to be transparent with everybody and, all that fun stuff. So, that has been episode 17 of Game Patrol. Thank you again, and we will see you all next week. Adios.
Bye.